Welcome on into the All Aussie Rules YouTube channel. We've got another video coming your way today. It's another 2026 mid-season preview or review, depending which way we look at it. A bit of both. Today, it's the Gold Coast Suns. We're working our way through every single club in the AFL as they get to their bye. So there is 4 coming out this week. Adelaide is already on the channel. Go watch that one. This one's obviously today. We've still got North Melbourne, Port Adelaide coming out this week. And then the rest of the 14 clubs over the next month. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like this video if you enjoy it. Don't forget to leave a comment below. Let me know how you think the Gold Coast Suns are going. In season 2026, we'll be going through it all today. We'll look at their season so far. We'll look at the team stats. We'll look at all the player individual stats by position. And we'll round it out looking at the rest of their season and potentially what we kind of expect to see from them in the remainder of season 2026. I don't think there's too much else to get through on the back end of stuff, so let's jump into it. Let's have a look and see what we can find out about the Gold Coast Suns in 2026. First of all, this is how their season has gone. They've played 11 matches, 7 wins, 4 losses, reasonably healthy percentage at 116.9. It's not too bad. Ladder, they are sitting 5th on the ladder, so just outside the top 4 at the moment. They had a very, very good start to the season. Had a little bit of a rough patch straight out of their bye. Got things going again before falling apart on the weekend. So let's go through it game by game. Geelong is where it started, opening round, People First Stadium, and they absolutely smoked Geelong. Really, really good performance. And at that point, we're thinking, how good are this Gold Coast team really? Could they be not just the real deal, but potentially one of the best teams in the competition? They certainly looked at that day. They absolutely smoked the Cats. 56 points. They followed it up with a couple easier games. West Coast at home by 59, and then headed to the MCG and beat Richmond by 68. Things were looking good going into the bye. They then headed to the MCG, played the Demons. Tough game. It's turned out that the Demons at the MCG are a very, very tough opponent. So it's no real bad loss, that one. But 20 points, it's still a loss. They then had Sydney in gather round at Norwood Oval. Lost by 32 points. Never really looked like winning that one. But once again, Sydney have been absolutely flying this year so far. They then hosted the Bombers at People First Stadium and got the 9-point win. It was their first home game since round 1. This was round 6. Wasn't convincing, but they did win it. So there's that positive, I guess. Round 7, they headed down to Launceston. Had a good 6 or 7 minute period in the second or third quarter. I can't remember exactly where it was. But outside of that, they comfortably got beaten that day by 49 points. The Giants in round 8 was a really good result. Obviously, the Giants up to that point had not been playing great football, so make of it what you will, but they won by 20 points. St Kilda up in Darwin, we know they don't lose up there, and that was the case again. They win back-to-back weeks. 29 points to St Kilda, 25 to Port Adelaide. And then halfway through Marvel Stadium against North Melbourne, they're up by 40-odd points and looked like absolutely walking home in that one. It wasn't to be, though. Kangaroos came back from nowhere, pardon me, looked really good in that second half, and the Kangaroos end up winning by 6 points. So disappointing way to go into the break for the Gold Coast Suns, but they can use this bye to reset and come out of this bye hopefully back into form. But as you'll see, their schedule does get quite difficult in the back half of the season, so they're going to have to perform week in, week out. There's no doubt about it. But they do have 7 wins already, so that's a very healthy amount of wins already on the board. When you've still got 12 games to play, probably going to need 12, maybe 13 to play top 10. Probably 12, I reckon, for top 10. So they only need 5 more wins to get to that point. So we'll see how they go. Jumping into some team stats for the Gold Coast Suns, comparing 2026 to 2025, and there's some interesting things on this page to go through. Scoring-wise, they have actually increased their scoring per game by 7 points per game, so that's not too bad, but they've also started conceding an extra basically 8.5 points. So it ends up being basically the same score differential, but higher scoring in both offense and defensive wise, which is worth noting. Clearances, they've got worse. They were third best at centre clearances last year. So far this year, they've been 14th. A big chunk of that is Matt Rowell has missed basically half the season. He's played 6 out of the 11 games so far, so he's obviously one of their big clearance winners. Stoppage clearances have also really struggled so far this year. 6th in the competition last year. So far this year, they're 18th in the competition, averaging -5. So that's a crazy number for a team that was very good at it last year. But as we'll get through some of these stats, you'll see where their scoring has transitioned from that clearance game across to the intercept game, for whatever reason. Inside 50 numbers, basically exactly the same as last year. Still second best in the competition. Last year they were plus 6.8 per game. This year plus 6.9. Contested football has completely dropped off. Plus 3.5 to minus 3.1. So there's that area that they can certainly tidy up. And uncontested football has gone up immensely from about level with their opponents up to plus 9.4 per game. Shots, pretty much the same, 6th best in the competition. Accuracy, once again, pretty good team. They were, 6th last year. This year so far they're 4th. So they're pretty good numbers across the board, accuracy-wise. Marks, massively increased, which kind of goes hand in hand with that uncontested possession increase. Getting, 10 extra per game there. Tackles, they've gone from 13th best, so nowhere near one of the better teams, and dropped all the way down to 18th best. Once again, goes with the uncontested style of football that they're kind of pushing towards this year. But the intercepts have gone through the roof. They've gone through from 11th in the competition to 1st in the competition. So, as you'll probably know, there's really only 3 ways you can win the football. Get the football, start a build up towards a goal. One's a stoppage, so either centre bounce or a stoppage clearance. One's kick in, and the other one's through intercepts. The other 3 options. Their clearance work has certainly dropped off for them to be winning the ball, but their intercept game has absolutely sprouted wings. They're looking after the football a lot better, but they're also managing to get those intercepts. And that's where their scores, their possessions are starting to build from. Is it a good thing, a bad thing? I don't think it's neither here nor there, but it's certainly a positive step in stopping the opposition in ways. I think if they can get those clearance numbers up a little bit, they don't have to get them to the point they were last year, especially the stoppage clearances. They'll start having a lot more of the football and things will just progress. So it's fascinating to watch. So one of the teams that probably have changed in game style the most in the competition from last year to this year, outside of the teams that have really improved, like your North Melbourne and your Melbournes. Certainly of the teams that finished in the top 10 or top 8 last year, I think they've changed the most. That's how I see it anyway. We'll now jump into our player review, starting in the defence. If you're new around here, we do an All Aussie Rules rating system. That is what we're using here. We rate every single player, every single game, by position, all of that. That will be your rating there. That's your average, or each player's average for the season so far. Obviously, 2025 is the rating for that year. Position rank is just the average put in order for the whole competition based on that position. So, yeah, pretty simple. Makes sense, kind of, or at least it does to me. Hopefully, I explained it well enough there. And then the colours, over on the side there, we mentioned how we get them. Well, not how we get them, but the classes at least. So, elite is the top 10% of each position. Top class is 10% down to 25% of each position. Above average is 25 down to 40. Average is 40 down to 60. And below average is 60 down to 40. Unranked, if you haven't played 5 or more games this season, you are classified as an unranked player. And that's just how it is. They potentially will end up being ranked if they play more than 5 games. So starting on that general defender line, and then number 1 rated general defender so far this year, Bodie Ulant. We've been big on Bodie from the start, and he's really taken leaps and bounds this year. He's gone from 34th best general defender last season all the way up to number 5 so far this year. Huge numbers, and they're highest rated, so massive improvement there. John Noble has also increased quite a lot. He's gone from 23rd up to 11th, so pretty solid improvement there. We do know that Dimmer loves a running defender. John Noble has played some wing time. Bodie Uland has had some varying roles, as has most of these players, but they're general defenders across the biggest chunk of the season. But we know Dimmer loves a running defender. He always has. Things haven't changed there, but yeah. Will Powell, he's gone slight increase from 31st to 21st. Joel Jeffrey's the one that's dropped. He's gone from top class 18th best down to 36. Still in the above average category. So 4 players in that category and 5 players in the general defender line that have played every game except for Joel Jeffrey's obviously missed one, is quite a lot. Daniel Rioli, the only one that's really dropped off. Joel Jeffrey has a little bit, but he's still been pretty solid. Daniel Rioli, the only one really that's dropped. And Ben Jepson's only played the one game, so we don't count that too much. Key defender-wise, a big jump from Mac Andrew. He's gone from 28th best to number 9. He has had some variety of roles this year. He's been in the ruck at times. He's been all over the ground. He covers the ground really well. He's jumped up to 9th best key defender. He's going really well. Him and Sam Collins absolutely flying. Sam Collins was top class last year. His rating's slightly gone up, but he has dropped in total rank. The key defenders have slightly improved in ratings from last year to this year. Just the way the game is played at the moment. They've gone up. Rucks have gone down slightly. Most other positions are pretty similar to where they were last year. Third key defender, Oscar Adams. He does tend to take the number 1 key forward at times. I think clearly he is the worst of the 3. I would like to see Sam Collins on the number 1 key forward a bit more. But yeah, as a third key defender, they've got a pretty good variety there, but those top 2 are really good. I can't say the same for Oscar Adams at the moment. Charlie Ballard's played the 4 games. His rating has been slightly better than Oscar Adams. Will we see more of him? I guess we'll see. Jumping up to the other end of the ground, and we got the forward line. General forwards up first. Bailey Humphrey was rated as an inside mid last year. So far this year, he has been a general forward. Obviously, Petrarca coming in has been a big reason for that. Doesn't quite get as much midfield time this year. His overall rating has dropped, but obviously less competition as a general forward. So he is actually classified as a top class rated player there so far this year. Obviously his first game of the year was absolutely huge. Will Graham has dropped off a little bit, but not a huge amount, 36 down to 47. Ben Long not having his best season, 32 down to 48. And then you've got the ones that were unranked and played little football last year that are showing some solid signs. Leo Lombard is the big one. I think we expect quite big things from him, and he'll continue to get better. Obviously, last year was pretty injury interrupted as his first year in the AFL system. Jake Rogers, he's showing some good signs. Only played the 5 games, but rate's okay. Lachlan Goulburn, 6 games. Hasn't been terrible. Certainly better than his numbers were last year. Nick Holman's only played the 2 games, and his rating from those 2 games has been a lot lower than his rating from last year. Key forwards, Ben King's the one key forward that just does not rate well, even though he kicks a lot of goals. And that's because he just doesn't touch the football much. He does his role really well. He's clearly a top-class key forward. In terms of goal kicking, he doesn't do a lot else, though, in a game of football compared to most other key forwards. His rating is slightly down on last year, so he isn't quite going as well as he was last year. Jed Walters, their second highest rated so far this year. He's gone from 55 up to 40. It's an improvement. He's probably still got room for more improvement. Ethan Reid has had similar increase from 50th up to 42nd. So as your second and third key forwards, they're not too bad. Jamari Ugle-Hagan obviously did not play last year. First year this year at Gold Coast. He's only played 3 games so far. Has had little impact, but I think as he learns the system and gets back into playing football, that will increase and he will get better. And then Jai Farah is only played the 2 games so far, so he's unranked at the moment. Jumping into the midfield. Inside midfielders up the top, Christian Petrarca in his first season as a Gold Coast Sun has absolutely had a stellar start. His first couple games were insane. He has dropped down a little bit. He was the number 1 ranked player and inside midfielder for the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season. He did have that injury period where he missed a couple games, but his numbers are huge. We know what he's capable of. He's a Norm Smith medalist at Melbourne. He's huge, a really gun talent. And his last couple seasons perhaps haven't quite shown that. But so far this year, he's been huge. Ranked in the elite category, number 3 inside mid in the competition so far this year. Noah Anderson's played 10 games, so missed just the 1. His numbers aren't as good as last year, there's no doubt about it. He's gone from, 6th best down to 22nd. Still playing some good football, just not quite at the level. Same can be said for Matt Rowell, who's obviously had some injury concerns. He's missed 5 games already this year. He was ranked number 2 last year's Brownlow medalist. He's 32 at the moment, ranked 32 in the AFL. So as an inside mid, those numbers I would expect we'll see improve in the second half of the season. As he gets some fitness and gets going, and that will help their clearance game, which we mentioned before has been down so far this year. Miller was ranked 20th last year. He's down at 36th this year, down 15 points. A lot of these points have gone to probably Petrarca, in all honesty. He's certainly taken the heavy load of the midfield so far this year. If they can get all 4 of them firing, though, they're going to be a very scary midfield. Alex Davies has played 6 games, rates about where he did last year. As a 5th inside mid, someone that, as a depth player sort of thing, he does the role really well. Outside midfielders, Lachie Well has been really good so far this year. He's gone from a 71 up to an 88 rating, 16th best as an outside mid in the competition, so he's been good. Sam Closey, another one that we've been quite big on for a couple of years, hasn't really taken that development just yet, running similar numbers as he was last year. And Zeke Uland in his first year as a Gold Coast Sun has played 9 games already. Doesn't rate overly highly at the moment, but those numbers this year don't matter too much. It's about experience. It's about gelling with the team and seeing where this will take him in the future. But he's showing some solid signs. And then your ruckman for Gold Coast Suns, Jared Witts is their main ruck. He has been for the last few years, obviously. Played 9 games. He was ranked 9th last year. He's one of the ruckmen that have struggled to adapt completely to the new ruck rules, I think. Dropped down to 14th best so far this year. Not terrible, but he's just not going at the level he was last year. That's hurt. It's the new ruck rules have hurt some ruckmen, and he's probably one of them. Ned Moyle, his numbers have actually increased quite a bit, but he's only played the 4 games so far. He's rated slightly above Jared Witts, but I'd probably have them about the same at the moment. It'll be interesting to see how that kind of combination resolves itself in the back half of 2026. On to the players that haven't played a game yet this year, and all of them didn't play a game last year either. So some of these are first-year players, some are players coming off injuries. So we've got Dylan Patterson, Cooper Bell, Jai Murray, Bo Adensau, Avery Thomas, Asher Eastham, Kobe Coulson, Elliot Himmelberg, Zach Evans, Max Noble, Caleb Lewis, and Caleb Graham are the players for Gold Coast who haven't played yet in 2026. Quite a long list. I think they've got a pretty settled team overall. They don't want to be making too many changes that they don't have to. Only thing left to look at is a look towards the rest of their season. We'll give a quick rundown on some of the numbers here and what they mean, just so you can understand it before we delve into it a little bit more. Obviously, the obvious things are the round, opponent, venue, AAR win percentage. So that's the All Aussie Rules ELO ratings to give us a win percentage for each game. So it's not perfect. Never believe or pretend it will be. It's just a little indication on some numbers to tell you who's a chance to win, or roughly what the win percentage chance is. And then down the bottom, using those numbers gives us our X wins, which is our expected wins for the season, and X finishing posing, which actually should say finishing position. Don't know what I've done there. So starting obviously at the top, they got the bye this week, round 12. Come out of the bye, hosting Brisbane at People First Stadium, round 13. That's going to be a cracking game. Brisbane not in the best form right now. As you can see, it has Gold Coast slightly down in the overall win chances at 43%. The way Brisbane are going, Gold Coast might and probably will start favourites in that one, even though they don't have a great record against the Lions. Cats at GMHBA, that's going to be a really tough one. They're at 21% there. Then they got Hawthorn at People First Stadium, which they're at 37%. Then they've got a tough one again on the road to Fremantle at Optus Stadium at 22%. Then Collingwood at People First Stadium, about a 50-50. Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval, they're at 33%. And then the Bulldogs at 42% in round 19. So if you look at that right now and where each of those teams is on the AFL ladder after round 11, the next 7 games, all 7 of those are currently in the top 10 of the AFL, including the Gold Coast Suns. There's 8 of the 10 teams. There's only 2 other teams in the top 10 right now that they don't play in the next 7 weeks, which is crazy. One of them is Melbourne, and the other one would be Sydney. I think the maths, correct me if I'm wrong. Feel free to correct me. But that's a tough 7-week period. So yes, they do get, 4 of them at People First Stadium. They're not going to be easy walk-in, walk-out wins, though. They're going to have to work for all of those wins. And then their road games against Geelong, Fremantle, Adelaide, all really tough ones. Things maybe get a little bit easier after that. Carlton at Marvel Stadium. Still not going to be easy because it's a road game. And we've seen that they lose at Marvel Stadium. They lost last year to Richmond there. They lost last week to the Kangaroos there. So they definitely need to improve to beat the Blues. Who knows what the Blues team will be like at that point. Melbourne at People First. You'd back them as favourites, but it's not going to be easy. GWS at Manuka Oval, not going to be easy, depending on what the GWS team is doing. But we saw what they did to Brisbane Lions last weekend. Then Brisbane at the Gabba, that's going to be a tough one. And finishing the season down at Marvel Stadium against St Kilda, they'll want a fair chunk of wins going into that last 3 weeks, because that's not going to be easy either. So we did say they have 7 wins already. I certainly think if they can knock over at least one of the next 3 in that Brisbane, Geelong, Hawthorn, maybe 2, they'll be fine. But if they start losing those ones, that back half of the season is starting to look very, very dicey for them. I think on our numbers, they have the hardest final 13 weeks of the season, or 12 weeks, whatever it is, in the AFL. And they have had a reasonably easy start to the year. It certainly doesn't get easy for the rest of the year now, though. You look at it, the 3 bottom teams in the AFL, you'd have to say, quite comfortably, are Essendon, Richmond, and West Coast. With West Coast maybe slightly, a little bit ahead of the other 2. They don't get to play any of them for the rest of the year. So they do not play one of those bottom 3 teams again this year. It's not going to be an easy run home, is pretty much the long and the short of it. So going by our win percentages, that would have them at 11.7 wins. So basically 12 wins on the season, which will be enough to get them into 10th just. But it would be a play-in final at the moment on our numbers would be against Adelaide, but obviously a lot can change between now and then. But 12 wins is probably the minimum that Gold Coast would be happy with from here. They'll want more than that, but the thing is, they win against Brisbane next game. All of a sudden, some of those other games start to look a little bit easier as well. So they're in for a big finish to the year. It's not going to be super easy, but we'll see how they go. I can't see them missing top 10, but as I said, they just don't have any free wins coming up, so they have to work for every single win that they will get. That's a wrap on Gold Coast Suns 2026 mid-season preview / review. Hope you've enjoyed this episode of the All Aussie Rules YouTube channel. We have plenty more coming out. We do 2 podcasts every single week, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Check out all the other teams' mid-season reviews. Go check out all the social medias. Just search up All Aussie Rules on your favourite social media. We've probably got it. So go check it out. Thank you for watching this one. We'll be back later this week with plenty more content. So until then, hope you enjoy. I'll catch you on the next one.